Well, thanks, sweets.
We are live, and I have my OG cousin Satcho here with me. I know many people probably won't be on because there's a few lives going on at the same time within our proper community, but we need to have a much needed conversation with everything that is happening on in the world. We need to talk about bug out communities. Who's in your mag? Who do you choose to be in your mag? And how do you go about building a bug out community? What kind of committees should you have? Should there be like a governing board or some sort? So
Huh?
I'm gonna turn the floor over to you, cuz, and speak on it. How long have you been bugging out?
Hello, everyone. Yep, I've been bugging out a little over 3 years now. And just to start on answering your question, about your mags and how does that start? If it's something that you want to start, I usually start with yourself. You know, it just usually is people that's aware of what's going on. So usually you want to build yourself up mentally, physically. That's usually where it starts. And at home with your family, usually it's people that pay attention to what's going on. It's countries we see, that's a thriving country, and a few weeks later, it's anarchy. We've seen just recently in Texas where the weather got really cold and
Mm-hmm.
snow hit the ground, and a lot of bad things happen. And so yeah, it takes people that's paying attention, and that's usually where it starts. That's usually where the desire starts. You don't want to get caught unprepared, get caught lacking, as people say. Um, so I just want to start off with that. Usually start off with yourself. You want to get mentally fit, notice what's going on. You want to be physically fit. Um, in case you fall in a ditch, you want to be able to pull yourself out. And not you don't have to be an athlete, but you want to be serious about your fitness.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and as far as your mag, starting an organization, you just want to learn how to work with people. That's why I say you usually start with your family. Um, that's usually where the leadership starts and the information before you go start working with strangers that you never known before. You want to work with people who are familiar.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and also,
And
you want to look. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
you said start with your family. Now, do you believe that, like, realistically, you're not gonna, besides the immediate people in your house, like, how do you choose which family to bring along with you and which ones that aren't are going to be a hindrance to you?
That's the good thing. Work with family. You kind of can sense that out. It's just something you could feel. You could tell if somebody would be responsible enough. Like when you put in a group together, you might have weapons. You might have a location that you don't want other people to know about. So if you got a family member always on social media telling what's going on in the home,
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that, you probably don't want to trust them with the locations. And you got somebody that get crazy, get temperamental. You likely don't want them around. You want calm people. You want like-minded people.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes down to it, just people that's interested. You don't want people that you got to really drag into it. It's something that you got to want to do, and it's people that you got to want to be around. So,
And how do you mentally prepare yourself when you're, because I know, like, you've bugged out alone, right? So, like, how do you mentally prepare yourself, and then how do you come home and mentally prepare your family?
to prepare yourself mentally, a big part of it is being prepared. When you don't feel prepared, like you really planned it out and put enough time in it, you don't have as much confidence. But um, for me to get prepared mentally, like a lot of times I'm on YouTube, I research like primitive camping,
Mm-hmm.
um, you know, bushcrafting, stuff like that. And also like the popular shows like Survivor, stuff like that, and just see other people do it, and see that it's possible to go out, take care of yourself. Depends on what you want to do, what your goals are.
Mm-hmm.
You want to see other people do it. That gives me confidence. Lets me know if he could do it, I can do it. And just being prepared, going down your checklist. You want to know that you have all the tools that you need and all the gear. So a lot of it is just getting advice from people that done it before. Look at how they do it, and just being prepared. But you're always going to be nervous going out there because you never know what's going to happen, what you're going to run into. But the more prepared you are, the more confidence you'll have.
What are the essential tools? Because I know like a lot of people they prep and they're food prepping and everything, but you said tools. So what kind of bushcrafting tools would someone need to if they had to go bug out outside of their home? Because let's just face it, if civil unrest break out, which it feels like we're pretty much like we're on that ledge, right?
Not far.
These
Yeah,
gas
exactly.
prices keep going up, food keeps going up. Like pretty soon people aren't going to be able to, you know what? I posted a video on my Instagram of this guy that got caught trying to siphon someone else's gas out their car. So it's like we're almost there. So what basic tools does a person need to like primitive or just to survive outdoors?
Man, some people just need like a blade out there, and they can make it happen. It depends how advanced you are. But
Mm-hmm.
just starting out, like the basic tools, you want to have shelter, of course. That's usually like a tent. Starting out, and you work yourself up to like a hammock. But yeah, you want to have the basics like shelter. You want to have water, which that usually includes having some type of water filtration. And of course, you want to be around a water source.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and also, it depends on the weather. If it's cold outside, of course, you want to be prepared for that cold weather. They
Mm-hmm.
got portable heaters now, butane heaters that you could use.
Yeah.
Me starting out, I started out lighting a bunch of candles in my tent, and when it was really cold, I used cotton tinder. It gets really smoky in there, but when you're cold enough, you'll do stuff like that.
What? Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Um, um, you want to have a way to cook. A way to eat. Um, a lot of things you don't need, but to be comfortable, you want to have a pot to cook in. Of course, food. I bring a lot of canned foods, stuff that I could cook up quick. A type of setup where I could start a small fire, add some wood to it, and set it up a certain way to set my pot up so that I could cook. So you want to have a way to cook. You want to be comfortable, able to sleep. You don't want to just sleep right on the ground. So of course you want a mattress. It depends what all you could carry out to the site,
Mm-hmm.
um, the budget that you have, and just what you're willing to bring out. But yeah, you want to have a shelter, a way to eat, a way to drink, and protection. Um, a blade. You want to be able to cut stuff. You want to be able to dig. You want to be able to use the restroom out there. Toilet paper, something to dig a hole with, something like that. Um,
So I got a funny story, right?
right.
I just went hiking last week, right? And so when me and the kids were on a way to go and bug out with a group of people who we camp with, right?
Right.
Um we ended up getting in a car accident. I didn't go there. So I had like the compost bags. I had the eco gel sticks, everything, and the kids were like, "Man, I don't know," they was like, "I don't know how I'm gonna feel about using the bathroom outside. I'm just not gonna use it." I'm like, "Listen, if you have to use the bathroom, you just gonna have to do what you gotta do, right?"
Yeah,
And
oh,
so
yeah.
when we were hiking last weekend, um, there was this guy behind us, right? And
Mm-hmm.
it had rained the day before, so the rocks were kind of slippery. And so,
Ooh.
I almost slipped and bust my ass, right? So
That
anyway,
was coming.
the guy behind us had 2 bags of poop, but it was his own poop. So moral of the
Mm-hmm.
story is he was half prepared. He had the bags, but he didn't have the shovel. So he's literally like
Um,
behind me on a trail, and you're walking past people because at this point it was a popular trail and it's
all
starting to
right.
pick up. And you're carrying 2 bags of poop. I was like, dude, just let me fall. Don't even
Yeah.
try and catch me. Just let me fall. But a shovel, like I think like the simplest things. You, he
Uh,
was half prepared. You have had it right, but not all the way. My kids, I'm still trying to get them there. Luckily, we've always been by a bathroom when we've been camping.
right.
But so we would have to dig a hole.
Yeah. You don't have to. Um, but yeah, especially if there's other people around, it's kind of crazy and kind of covering your tracks. But nah, you don't have to. Sometimes you can sit on like a tree, a log, and do your business like that, and disappear like nothing happened. You know.
I mean, and this is gonna sound. You're not worried about like a snake or anything. Like I'm just. Some people may want to know because these are the things that like a lot of people are like, man, I'm not using it, but you have to do what you got to do. So, like, are you not concerned with snakes or anything while you're out there?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good point because you do want to survey your surroundings where you're going. And yeah, that's a big concern. Not snakes, but it's a lot of spiders, fire ants out there.
Oh no, I just lost him. Oh no. Oh, here you
Hey,
go.
you there?
I lost you for a minute. Um, okay, but we're back now. But go ahead.
Cool. I was saying, yeah, you want to look at your surroundings, make sure there's no ant pals, like you say, spiders. You want to be around high grass where something might could creep up on you. So yeah, that is a big concern. And sometimes you find a way to just kind of squat where you're not too exposed. So you can imagine like kind of sitting on a log and you hanging over.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way you could do it there, or dig a hole and kind of sit in it and do your business that way. But yeah, either way, it's always because a concern. And sometimes there's things around, and like you said, if you got to go, you just go and you try to hurry up, and hopefully nothing sticks to you. But yeah, sometimes you've done and you're brushing ants and things off you. So it's like not a square inch where it's not an ant, or a bug around. And so it's kind of something you got to deal with. Most times it's harmless. They're harmless most of the times. And like you mentioned, the big concern would be the snakes while you're going. But yeah, if you got to go, you got to go, and you're gonna do it anyway. Yeah.
So,
Oh.
how does somebody pick like the optimal location of where they should bug out at?
Um, a good bug location is a place where people can like see you from like the main roads. You don't want to be easily seen. Uh, when you burn making a fire, you don't want people to easily be able to identify your location. You want to definitely be near a water source. Um, you want to be mostly on high ground. You don't want to be in an area that floods when a lot of rainpour comes. An area that a lot of area drains into, because some places get really floody. It's dry 1 second, and just a quick rainfall, it could be flooded. So you don't want to
Mm-hmm.
be a location like that. It becomes dangerous. Um, you want to look for game trails. You don't want to be in places where a lot of game be around. And like we mentioned, high grass, a lot of wet areas. You want to be like in a dry area where it's less reptiles able to, kind of sneak up on you. So yeah, a place that's safe, not easily found, near water. Other than that, not much to it. A place that you're comfortable. And security is a big deal. Um,
Mm-hmm.
you could secure it a little better with minimal people, and that's why I mentioned higher ground, where you could see more of the area, see who's coming, see who's approaching. Yeah, security is a big thing. You don't want to be seen out there wherever you're bugging.
Okay. And then when it comes to, I know you mentioned security. So when it comes to building a mag or a bug out community, what kind of different, like, other than security, what kind of other like committees, I guess, so to speak, should a bug out group have?
Excellent question. That's important. So everybody, feels safe and everybody's on the same page. Yeah, you want to have security.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you want to have people that's good at gathering, people that's good at identifying how to find wood, um, how to find material where you can start fires easily. Um, you want to have committees that's good at um, like identifying herbs, good at building. You want to have
Mm-hmm.
people that's good at medical in case somebody gets hurt. They're knowledgeable and dressing people up, and hopefully maybe knowledgeable on herbs. What they can use out wherever they at. You might not have access to a drugstore, and so you want to have people that can identify certain herbs, certain plants, and how to turn materials into medical equipment. Make a how to make a tourniquet, stuff like that. Um, so yeah, not too many different committees. You definitely want to have security. You just want to have people that have different skills. It don't really have to be different committees, but you want to have all the skills covered. A lot of people will have multiple skills. People that's good at security will also be good at gathering wood.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and somebody that handles the cooking, where there's not too many hands in the pot. Especially in today's time, you want to keep things sanitary. So you don't want a bunch of people, handling the food, stuff like that. So yeah, you do want to delegate and have different people do different jobs and different roles, and most importantly, everybody know what their role is and know how to do it.
And okay, so how do you deal with like um I mean, how do you deal with like an unruly person? Like, do you allow that person to leave the group? Let's just say you have your mag and someone starts like unraveling and acting crazy. Like, how do you deal with that situation? Do you kick them out or do you isolate them? Because obviously, if you kick someone out, then you run the risk of that person like being a defector or maybe linking up with marauders or whatever and giving
Hmm.
away your location. So how would you deal with, a situation where you might have to out somebody?
Yeah, yeah, right, and that's a good point. Yeah, you do want to be careful. Like you said, if you make the wrong person upset, and they know your location, they know your secrets, they might turn on you. Use that against you. So yeah, I have experienced situations like that, and like we mentioned earlier, first of all, you want to have the right people out there to begin with. Um, but yeah, something like that happens. First of all, you just want to watch that person really close.
Hmm.
Just watch how they moving, ask them more questions, ask how they, figure, just get more of how they thinking. Um, if it's a safety issue, or depends on how they acting crazy, how it can affect um the whole group, the whole setup. So um yeah, it's just something, you know, you want to watch them really close, um, find out where they head at. And like you mentioned, if it get to where they acting crazy, where you thinking about, yeah, this person got to go. Yeah, you want to escort that person out. Make sure they leave and completely out of there, and don't turn around because they'll likely be upset. But yeah, it takes a special kind of handling, like you mentioned. They know your secrets.
Hmm.
They know where you're vulnerable.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, you know, it's about getting understanding, and hopefully they understand where you come from, and they understand your concern, and you explained it to them. And
And if they don't understand, we can tie them to a tree and never let them go.
you might have to. You want to keep them secrets, right?
We're gonna sit you
But
right here and let that.
yeah, exactly. And everybody got to keep them secrets.
You are
But
now.
yeah, yeah. Now it's getting
Can't
scary.
let you go. No. How do
But
you
yeah.
handle? I know. So I know that you've been. I've never camped with a group of people, and there have been like a conflict that break out. So how do you deal with? You're not going to be getting along all the time.
Hmm.
How would you handle conflict and conflict resolution within a bug out community?
Um. Of course, communicating. You got to find level ground, because a lot of times when out in these groups, a lot of times people are armed. And
They'd be like, "Oh, really? Pew pew."
yeah, exactly. So yeah, it takes special handling, takes a little psychology. You don't want to get these people upset. If there's a conflict, there's probably already an issue going on.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so you want to diffuse the situation. You don't want people out there hot, and especially if they're armed, they have weapons. There's no easy access to medical, hospital stuff like that. So you don't want stuff to happen. So if there's a conflict, you got to diffuse it. You got to isolate the person, separate the people that's in conflict. And if it escalates like that, the group has to break up. That person has to leave. So of course, how you go about it. If there's a conflict, you want to resolve the conflict if
Mm-hmm.
you can. If not, you gotta just diffuse the situation, and um, separate the people, or have them, the worst case scenario, like we said, have them leave. And
Tie them to a tree. You can't leave. Gonna
yeah,
put you in
yeah,
bug
if
out
it comes
prison.
down to it, yeah, we got to keep them secrets. Yeah, I kind of like your approach. Tie them to a
Tie
tree
them
and
to a tree.
wait till
Listen,
they come around.
people in Jamaica, they tie you. They will tie your ass to a tree and leave you out in the jungle.
That's right, and and wait for you to cool off. If anything,
Right.
you'll be
You
begging,
follow
"Hey,
up.
I'll
Yeah.
be good from now on." I promise. So I like that. So, yeah.
So within a bug out community or a mag, is there one person in charge? Should there be like a group of people in charge, or is everybody the same? what is a hierarchy? Should there be a hierarchy?
Yeah, they kind of should, because some people will have more experience and they'll be able to make better decisions than others. Um, but there's no boss, of course. There's nobody to answer to, at least how we're set up. But if it's always going to be like two people want to go left, two people want to go right, and yeah, you got to have somebody that has that experience and hopefully be able to convince the other people why we should go in this direction. And that's usually the person, he's usually not called the head honcho or the leader, but in a group you could kind of figure out and identify who has the group's in, best interest,
Mm-hmm.
who has the sound mind, and um but yeah, to answer your question, there's usually somebody that's kind of appointed, somebody that's kind of respected. Not that we call them a leader, but there's just it's always somebody that you kind of look to that that kind of seem to know better than most people around. But I don't think that's a good idea, to kind of run it as a military because a lot of people are not going to have that discipline.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to have everybody feel like their opinion matters and they're heard. Um, but I guess every group is different. But like the group I'm associated with, there's no real hierarchy. But some people, they have that experience, they have that know-how, and you give them that respect, basically. But yeah,
So
oh yeah.
should there be like a rotation of leaders, like everyone take a vote, or should it just be the one person?
Usually that's kind of how it happens. Um, because a lot of times maybe that one guy that you wanted to lead, he might not be able to come out there.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, everybody needs to be able to step up for one. It's important that everybody in the group shows leadership. That's what you're looking for when you put in a group together in the first place. Everybody should be, studying, upskilling. Everybody should have that passion
Mm-hmm.
to want to get better and to help others. So um, it should be like anybody's able to step in, and a lot of time that's what happens. The overall leader might not know the best way to build.
Mm-hmm.
So it depends on the situation. Um, he might not know the best medical route to take, and that means somebody else has to step in and give the better advice. So it all depends on the situation,
Mm-hmm.
what's going on, and um, what we need leadership for. But and that's kind of how the leadership changes. It changes with the situation,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes certain people can't show up, and other people step in. So
So
that's how it goes back and forth.
let's just say the shit hits the fan tomorrow.
Right?
We have our group set, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you just see random people wandering, looking for help and shelter. How do you go
Mm.
about vetting who you allow in? Do you allow in anybody else once you have your community set?
Um, it's usually not preferable to have outsiders come into your camp once you have your camp established.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a vetting process you want to have because yeah, you want to be able to help others,
Mm-hmm.
and that person you help might have a set of skills that you're looking for. So, it all depends on the situation, and you're looking for the same attributes that you put your mag group together in the first place. Somebody that's level headed, you want to ask them certain questions, find out where their mind's at, um, find out what you can about their character, find out what they can contribute to the group, If they just need, food and drink, then you might could give them that and send them on their way. And but you don't want any more liabilities than you have,
Mhm.
especially you've been training all this time and you got that cohesion. You don't want a personality to affect that. So um, I would say that the best way to approach that is the same way you formed the group in the first place. You want to have like-minded people, um, and people that you could get along with. That's important. And you just got to kind of go with your gut and your experience. And yeah, it's kind of hard to say, but I think a lot of times you will kind of figure out what you're looking for, and the group got to be comfortable with it.
And I was having a discussion with one of my my I don't know, like I wouldn't say like a close friend, but an acquaintance, right? I was
Okay.
having a discussion with an acquaintance, and I'm like, you can't just throw people together and then think you're gonna have like this cohesive bug out group. Like what you
Hmm.
said, like having like-minded people, um, the people have to get along, because if you have a group of people and you know right off the bat they don't get along, there goes
Hmm.
your trust. And you have to, I mean, when you're in a situation like that, you're literally dependent on the next person, like y'all have to have each other's back. That's y'all's protection. So I think
Hmm.
I come off kind of savage when I say like you can't take everybody with you.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. It sounds tough. Um, yeah, that's kind of my first thought, is you don't, yeah, you let one person in and they go out, and next thing is they got five other people, and you try
Mm-hmm.
to make it work, and you trying to please them. And so yeah, preferably you don't want any outsiders coming in. So yeah, you better have a take a lot of time really vetting these people, and before you give up your secrets, you want to make sure they're worth it.
Now, when you're building a bug out community, is there like what kind of expectations or requirements should be like set of each member? Because when we speak of liabilities, like I don't want to be, prepping for like 3 to 6 months, and I done stockpiled, and here comes somebody that ain't been doing nothing, and now I got to share my stuff with this person because. So, what kind of requirements or you know what I mean? Like, what kind of requirements or expectations should a group set of each member as far as what they're bringing to the group?
Yeah, that's a great requirement. You do want people, coming with their own things, and not just trying to find out what they can get from somebody else. Um, but yeah, you want people, like we say, like-minded people, people that's interested in prepping, survival, um, just people, pay attention, that's concerned with what's going on in the world around them,
Mm-hmm.
and they want to do something about it. They don't want to be caught unprepared. You want to find people where they're concerned about it. They have that same passion. People that actually look into primitive camping. People that actually research, how to prepare for the worst. Crap hit the fan. Um, and like you said, they're already in the game, and they willing to prepare. Like pretty much, like every time I go shopping, I get an extra can,
Mm-hmm.
and now I got hundreds of cans. Because I shop a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so like you mentioned, I'll have a bunch of food, and you don't want to bring people in, that's not going to make the effort, and
Right.
now I got to give up my resources because they weren't willing to, do the work themselves. So yeah, you want people that's you could tell that they're not lazy, that they're proactive. They're willing to teach, they're good working with other people, good team members. Um, and people that care for other people, that's a big part of it is, people who care, enough to prepare. Um,
All right. So next question.
right. I know this is going to be good. I can see it all over you right off.
Let's say we're out of everything. Our whole group, we're depleted.
Hmm.
Do we turn into the Marauders? Are we gonna be going savage and
When when your stomach hungry and growling and you got you got the means, who's to say? You mentioned the word savage, that might be what it takes to feed your family. And the thing is you want to have like enough food, at least 3 months, supply to where you have food to eat now and you also have seeds to be able to grow. Um, so it won't have to come down to it. But yeah, if it came down to it, and
we gonna be
yeah,
commandos in the woods, busting the people? Give me what you got.
yeah, we got to get together. Our kids hungry, then yeah, we're gonna get together and make sure our kids get fed. You hate to say that, and if it come down to it, but
Yeah.
that's another thing. You want people that's willing to do what it takes, and you don't want to talk about doing anything bad, but you try to make it where it don't come down to that. Um, so you that's a good thing to prepare for. Make sure we don't run out. And that's why I bring up like gardening seeds. You want to have
Mm-hmm.
like some members in our group got chickens, stuff like that, and make it bring a couple of them and keep it going. But yeah, if our stomachs are hungry and our kids are hungry, then we got to get together and do what we got to do.
Now,
But
what if we get rolled up on?
I didn't hear that.
I said, what if we get rolled up on? So what if the situation is in reverse? Another bug out group, our bando commando in the woods, and they come across us and they're like, oh,
They got yeah.
what are we doing? Are we helping them? What if we get rolled up on?
If we get rolled up,
what do we do when our location is compromised? How are we handling that?
well, that's what you prepare for. Like in our group, we go out to the range. We practice our shooting, and we also have protocols. We have radio communication. And yeah, we have certain guidelines where where you want to identify whoever's coming up on your camp. As far as what you're going to do if that happens, it depends what it comes, how they coming at you. If they're coming out with, it's different where they coming with their hands out, or if they coming out with assault rifles pointed, it's going to be a different course of action. But
I'm saying don't trust nobody, because when you watch like these apocalypse movies, it's always the person like, I got a pregnant wife, or my son is hurt. It's always the seemingly innocent ones that just come in and just
drop your guard. Yeah.
So how close should a community allow like those kind of people? How close should they allow them to the camp before the whole camp goes on high alert?
I mean, yeah. I mean, it's a tough question. It's a tough situation. I mean, if you see somebody hurt, naturally you're going to want to help them. Like you said, it's just something hard to get around. If you see somebody in need and hurting, it's going to be tough to say, we can't allow that person in. We can't ban. If we got somebody that could banish them up, get them on their feet. It's gonna be hard to say. We got to keep the camp intact, turn them away. Um, but it seems like it'll be a case by case decision. Like you said, that's the best way is not to allow anybody in, no outsiders. Preferably, you don't want anybody in. But you never want to get in a situation where you're totally heartless, and you see somebody need help and you just turn them away. And like you said, that could be used against you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's almost certain members of the group going to have a heart, and want to help somebody because, that's the people that we're around. And it's going to be people that's, like you said, cutthroat, savage. We got to keep what we got and keep it intact. Don't let anybody in. It's just
And
hard to
there goes
say.
the conflict. And that's a conflict right there. Because what if
Yeah.
half the group like, yeah, nah, we're not letting this person in, and then the other half is like, but this is an old lady or a wounded woman or a woman with a child. How do you resolve that conflict, and how do you come to a common ground?
Yeah. I mean,
Tough questions or no?
it is. It is. It's
Because
like,
this is like realistically, these are going to be realistic situations. I mean, people are going to, if we're ever driven out from our homes, people are going to be wandering through wherever, the mountains, the woods, wherever. The chances of somebody coming across like a community or whatever,
mhm.
like you said, it is going to be a case by case basis on whether you allow that person in. But
Right.
you're going to have some people that feel like, no, this is what we have. We need to make it last, and we can't take nobody in. Taking people in, is going to be a liability. Then you're going to have the compassionate side. And then you have two groups. You have two groups of people within your group, and there's conflict. Who steps in at that point and mediates and makes the executive decision on what to do?
I mean, who's to say? Because when you're in a situation and everybody got assault weapons, then pretty much everybody's the boss. But that leads me to think of a situation like, say you driving on the highway.
Mm-hmm.
It's a 20-mile stretch, not a home in sight, and you see somebody walking, and you really want to help them, because they got another 20 miles of walking, and they probably won't make it. So you with your partner, there's a concern, and one other person saying, "We got to help this dude, or he's gonna die." Well, in that case, you might can make, you know, guidelines where, hey, we might let you in the car, but we're gonna have to search you. We're gonna have to search your bag, make sure you don't have no weapons.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna have to sit in the front seat. If I got behind, you got to keep a gun on your back. And
Definitely
if you
don't let
don't,
them sit in the back seat.
yeah, and
Don't.
pull one of right. You're gonna have to sit up
You
in the
driving,
front.
they
Am I?
might pull out the pew on you while you're driving. Like, yeah, somebody. And see, what if you're by yourself and you don't have a partner? Do you pick that person up? Because now you have this person in the front seat. And not only do you have to have your eye on the road, you have to have your eye on this person. And I ask that because a lot of the bushcraft videos and bug out videos that I watch on YouTube, they'll always say, hey, like in that situation, people are going to want to talk. They're going to want to know what's going on. And you just got to just like, pretty much they're telling you got to shut down, don't talk to nobody, and just keep it moving and only worry about yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's another thing, like, let's just say everything goes out of control tomorrow, how long
Hmm.
do you stay bunkered down at home before you make the decision to leave your home and go to your bug out location? Do you leave immediately, or do you wait for the unrest to die down?
I mean, ideally, you want to build a bug out at home if you can.
Hmm.
You know that's the best security you'll have. Um, then if you're out in the open area in the woods, you know it's a place that you're familiar with, and it's a place you'll have a lot more equipment that you can't carry out to the woods. Um, so yeah, you of course you want to stay there as long as you can. But yeah, if that chaos, anarchy start getting to your door, or about the military got tanks on your block, then it's about it's about time to get out of there.
But see, that's my fear though. What if, by like I have a I don't know, I'm torn with that. I don't want to sit and wait too long because
Mhm.
I mean, I know it's just movies, but most of the time when you see people that are like, let's just wait, they end up staying too long.
Mhm. Yeah,
And by the time they get ready to leave, it's too late.
absolutely. And that's a big part of your group. You
Hmm.
know, you want to, a lot of times the people you're with, a big part of, you know, preparing is communications. And I don't mean like, cell phones, but, actual radios.
Right.
Um, and yeah, you want to be in communication with these guys. You want to have guys in your group that's resourceful and able to get information and able to get information to you faster than most other people get it. So yeah, that's kind of another tough question too. Is how do you know when it's the right time before it's too late?
Hmm.
And yeah, that's hard to determine. Like a lot of preppers like to live out in like a rural area
Hmm.
because a lot of times you figure if things going to go down in like the city first, in the
Hmm.
more populated areas. So a lot of times, you want to monitor what's going on. If things get bad in the city, it's only a matter of time before they work themselves out in the countryside. Um, but yeah, if you are already in the city, they're likely coming in first. And depends what's going on. Like if the government's saying they want to start locking stuff down, there's a big outbreak going on, and they got to start closing down cities, then that'll be the time to get out. You
Hmm.
know, not where the town is closed down. And you're like, man, I ain't liking this, and they're not letting us out. But once you start seeing it happen in other places,
Hmm.
that's probably a good time to start preparing.
And see,
And
that's just the thing. Like, even in watching different preppers, it gets kind of confusing because some of them are saying you'd be better off in the city. Some of them are saying, the other half will be like, don't be in the city. Me, I wouldn't want to be like in the city because that's where it's going to be the toughest to get out, right?
yeah, the toughest to get out, and yeah, if they want to lock down people, yeah, the most populated cities, it seemed like that would be the first place they would go. Like they're not gonna go like to the rural areas where people are 5 miles apart. It's a lot less people to worry about, and then they'll likely figure they could get to them people later, and likely those people know, they're likely out near the woodland, and they likely won't really be able to lock down those people anyway. So I wouldn't agree that, I'm not sure why would the city be the best place. Um, if crap hit the fan and, the cities are getting locked down. Um, but yeah, I would figure you want to get away from people, as far away from people as you can. If a situation like that happen.
So how close do you think we are to like that point? Like how long do we have before we actually get to crap hits the fan? Are we on the ledge? Like what is going to be like that straw that breaks the camel's back? What are your thoughts on the whole Russia, Ukraine, and everything that's going on within our economy as far as food shortages and inflation and high gas prices? What's going to be the breaking point for us?
Yeah, Russia Ukraine situation. That's a great, um, uh, example of how a thriving country, where its citizens going to work to bars one day, and then just 2 days later they fighting for their lives. The government handing them assault weapons and telling them to protect their home. So
Mm-hmm.
that just tells you how quick things can change.
Mm-hmm.
Um, of course, here in the United States, it's a little different. Ukraine and Russia are really close to each other, so the change happened quick. I think before it happened here, I think you'll be able to tell. That means things got really bad. A lot of people live good here in America, and they'll put them dollars and resources up to make sure that don't happen because they want to continue living good.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why you would be able to tell, things had gotten really bad where um, military might and money couldn't solve it. Um, but yeah, we just seen Corona, this outbreak come out, and in schools, we seen things we never imagined what happened. Schools, stores shut down. You can't see your family. You can't go around your loved ones. And we've seen how quick something like that changed the way we live. Something could come a lot worse. So to answer your question, that could be a very contagious disease. A plague that comes, and it could be overnight.
Where would it come from? Is the question. Like, I feel like this stuff is control mechanisms. Like, I feel like all of this is they're just chess plays of ways to control, the society. So, coronavirus didn't really put the fear and control people the way they thought it would be. So it's like, okay, well, now we have a whole conflict that's causing inflation that really we were already in inflation before this
Before,
conflict happened, right? So now you have, people going through, like this shock of how we were when the pandemic hit, when everybody was in and just buying up, panic buying, pretty much panic buying, right? So we're there again, right?
mm-hmm.
And now the White House is talking about like gas packages. Like people don't realize these stimulus, we pay for that. No money is free money in this country.
Mm-hmm.
It's just hard for me. I don't really trust our government like that. So if there is something worse that comes, I really do think that it'll probably come from them. I've seen press releases where they have said that they're not really too concerned about foreign terrorism, that the military was actively training on how to deal with domestic terrorism. So I guess like in my mind, I'm looking at all these different scenarios going on, and I'm like, are we being pushed to a circumstance where they've been wanting to declare martial law for a long time? So you see all these different things, going on. And it just makes me concerned that they're just throwing spaghetti noodles at the wall and seeing what will stick so that they can declare martial law. And if they declare martial law, then boom, we're there. We're there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we could see like these coronavirus, escalate, and you hear about the, Delta virus and something since
Megatron,
then. Yeah, yeah,
Megatron coming in. We're gonna have to call Optimus Prime to come and save us, the Autobots, because the Decepticon variant.
yeah, that was the Decepticon variant. That's
The
right
Decepticon.
around the corner. You know.
No, because they got what, the Omicron, and then it was like B2, R2,
Yeah,
something from Star Wars or something. It's like, come on, like
I can't keep up with them. Yeah, you know.
it's the flu.
Yeah,
And I'm not saying that coronavirus isn't real. I'm just
yeah,
saying, because I mean, I've had it, you know, people that I love have had it,
me too. Yeah.
but we still here. You know what I mean? I think that it's a fear tactic. I just feel like all of these things going on is pushing us closer to a state where they can declare martial law. And this is what they've been wanting, for a while anyway. It's like
Mm-hmm.
the purge almost. It's
Yeah.
almost like the purge. They might as well get on the TV and say, for 24 hours, we gonna let y'all kill each other. Go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and hide because I know some people on my list and I might be on some people's list.
Yeah, that survival of the fittest, and that's kind of how you think of like this a whole like what we call the flu
Mm-hmm.
is yeah, it's like any other flu, if you're not in um probably in the best of health is
They
is
named
gonna
it right at the end. There was like the flu Rona. Like, y'all should have said this from the beginning, because that's literally all this is. It's some shit y'all created
mm-hmm.
in the flu. Boom. And enough people didn't die, I guess, and they just have to keep, like, why are y'all even in science labs like creating different variants, strains or whatever?
Yeah, different variants, and yeah, they're gonna make a whole lot of money because with those different variants, they're gonna say you need a shot for this. Next variant, yeah, you need a booster. For this variant, you need 3 boosters. So yeah, on the other end, there's a lot of money to be made too.
There
Um,
is
yeah,
a lot of,
so
you know what, I'm a finance major, and yeah, to look at those companies that are like your Johnson and Johnsons, and the what's the other one that first came out? It started with the I forget what
Moderna,
yeah,
Pfizer,
Pfizer.
yeah,
But their stock was crazy banging. Like, if you had stock with them, like you were making money. Like, they make money off of suffering, which is why it's so hypocritical for us to go, into other countries and tell them that they should get along. Like, literally, we make
yeah.
we make
State
money off
invaders.
of suffering.
Mhm.
I don't know. I know that one thing that every conspiracy theorist loved to hear was Brandon, our person in office. That's what they call
Let's
him.
go, Brandon. Yeah.
Let's go, Brandon. No, during his, I guess, news thing, he was saying about the Russia and Ukraine that it was more of like a new world order, and he was like, we needed to be the ones who leads the new world order. How do you personally feel about that statement? What does the new world order mean to you? What does that signify for us?
It signified that it's a governing body that want to rule the world. In short words, it's a group of people that think they know what's best for everybody else. And
Bill Gates.
yeah, yeah.
Bill Gates, does he even have a high school diploma? Like, no, hold on. He didn't go to college. Did he graduate from high school?
I think he
This is the man
graduated.
y'all left in charge of our lives. He gave us vaccines and
Yeah, computer guy. How did he become an expert all of a sudden on health?
right.
Everybody's trying to figure out. But yeah, maybe he's that good. Who knows? But yeah, it seems like he has a lot of stock, and seems like he's behind a lot. You hear about him going on these trips.
Mm.
To the city with these labs, and
Well,
then
supposedly, there's biolabs over in Ukraine. Like, I know, and people are gonna be like, "You're a traitor. You're pro Russia," but I can't see where Putin has lied about anything he said so far. Am I wrong in saying that?
no, and that's part of getting both sides of the story of the narrative. Yeah, you only hear one part, but we don't get enough of why Putin thinks is the right thing to do and
Mm-hmm.
exactly what is his case. We only know that, he's the aggressor, and we know this country has played the aggressor a bunch of times, and we always had a reason, and we always expected the world to accept it, and now it's different with Putin. We put all the weight on him, but yeah, it's like self-righteous over here, where we know the best reasons to invade a country, and nobody else does.
Right.
You know. But
Right.
yeah, I've heard both sides. I won't go into details, too much. But yeah, that's a good point. You only hear one side of the story, basically.
I think that our country as a people, we're at such a disadvantage as to where if, and we only know, what is being put out there, but, using Russia as an example, like they have, I think they said about 40% of their population, they have bunkers for. Like, they're built for this. Like, they're built for bushcraft. You know what I mean? They're built for survival.
Hmm.
As to where us, like, honestly, they don't need to drop a bomb on us because we are the bombs. Like,
Hmm.
we would literally, we would destroy each other to survive. As to where in other parts of the world, you kind of see their people that they think about their people like we don't have bunkers. Like the average citizen here doesn't have bunkers. Our government
Hmm.
doesn't do anything like that for us. And again, as we're talking about setting up Bugout communities, and if we run out of supplies and what we might have to do, like at the end of the day, we might have to get savage on one another as to where I don't hear, and maybe it's because I just don't know, like I don't hear about like in any parts of the world, like I'm sure it happens where they have to get savage against one another in the different scenarios, like how we're talking about, how we would
Hmm.
potentially have to
All right.
be, like as a people, are we, is it possible that we could, is it possible that people can put aside their differences to survive?
Yeah, I think so. Um, yeah, when things get bad, like you seen that with the 9/11 situation, where we thought we was under attack from a different country, and yeah, you saw everybody being together and come together, and just willing to help out and be a human being all of a sudden. So yeah, I think we are capable of that, and um, yeah, you make a good point. They don't have to do much to, like you say, we the bomb. They just really got to make us panic, and a lot of people will turn against each other. Um, but I think if things got really bad, and there's a common threat, I think people will unite against that threat. If that threat is identified as a common threat, if people would unite, you know, until the threat is gone, at least.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we don't, a lot of people don't have bombing shelters, and I remember, watching a few documentaries of this country preparing for invasion bombs, and they had children hiding up under their desk, and of course now we got designated bomb shelters, schools like that. So yeah, you're right. It's something that the government don't really bring up. It probably happens more in different countries than over here. And yeah, you don't even hear that talked about, at that level.
Mm-mm.
So yeah, I think that if there's a common threat, then the people will, get together and alleviate that. But yeah, or it could be just a situation where, the resources are cut off and every man are for themselves, and people get savage, like you say, and
Because I mean, what if the common threat is famine?
right, right, and yeah, in that case,
Yeah,
people just looking out
we're
for
gonna be
them and
destroying
theirs.
over it. Like we're gonna be destroying each other because it's gonna be survival of the fittest, and unfortunately, I mean, we have to mentally prepare ourselves for that too. You know, um, it's just unfortunate.
Right, right, and that's
No,
the value of thinking ahead and what could happen, and that's why it's important to form these groups, with other people who are concerned that have the same concerns. Oh,
so y'all, I don't know what else to say. There you have it. Get with like-minded people, and do your best not to be a liability to the mag that you're forming. And I don't know. You got any closing words, guys? My Bugout OG.
um, just to pay attention, and I think a prepper is a smart person. That's a person that's aware, a person that's concerned with what's going on, and a lot of it is just starting with yourself. You want to get more mentally fit, physically fit. Get the family, um, on the same page as you. Have these discussions with your family, and yeah, like you said, find other people who got the same concerns, and want what you have, because you might need that. You might need that teamwork. You might need the skills of other people, and you might need the information of other people. Um, so yeah, that's all I want to close out, and thank you for having me.
Thank
And
you for coming
this was
on.
fun.
I
I was
know.
just thinking, like, when I talk, I was just thinking, like, I'm used to moving when I talk. I apologize. I'm probably moving the camera a lot,
You're fine.
and I remember every time you start talking, and every time I stop talking, I'm like, man, I'm moving the camera all over the place. I'll be ready next time. I'll be more stationary. But
All right.
yeah, it was a great interview. Great questions, and um, yeah, I look forward to catching your shows. So
Thank you. Thank you.
yep.
Thank you. All right. Well, thank you so much, and see you next bug out.
See you around. Take care, y'all.
All right.
Bye bye.